Good evening, everyone. I hope you're getting used to the new schedule, 9 o'clock instead of 8:30, summer schedule. Anyone wants to talk to me after the lecture is more than welcome to stay. We only pray Arvit for a few minutes, and after that, I'm not in a rush for a second lecture. Therefore, it's an opportunity tonight if you have anything to speak about. We're continuing our lecture, our common question series. Yesterday I made one in Queens, so you can see it online. It will be on tonight. Just to give you a brief idea, we spoke yesterday about Chanukat Habayit, modesty, gym for girls, gyms for guys. We spoke about wedding rings. We spoke about university, colleges. We spoke about watching the eyes. We spoke about lectures. Is it allowed for male and female to be mixed? Conversation with ladies, female friends, and some. Are we allowed to destroy an object that belongs to someone else, knowing this Jew will use it to make a sin, or it's considered stealing, which basically, will he be able to sue us for that or not? All these things we spoke about yesterday. Today, I'm continuing. It's very common today that we go to places and it's kosher catering, bar mitzvah, bris, wedding. But the problem is that the waiters are not kosher. The food is kosher, hopefully. Sometimes only the certificate is kosher. You can eat the certificate, not necessarily can eat the food. But the question is the requirement is only just that the food will be glad kosher with good supervision, or at the same time, it has to be the entire event kosher, which means they hire girls, most likely not Jewish, and they come with all kinds of short sleeves and short skirts, and they're not modest at all. And this is an ultra-Orthodox event. The question is, are we allowed to participate in such an event or not? Or food, it's food, and this is not our problem. Watch your eyes, like you watch your eyes on the street. The question is, are you allowed to come to this place or not? So the answer is, someone who has an event, she has to be careful not to order this kind of service. This has to be brought up when he makes the reservation with them. He has to tell them that they get either guys or modest girls. The question is, what happened if it wasn't discussed and now we're already in an event like that? So the answer is, it's allowed to participate in such an event. The person has to be extra careful from what's happening basically over there. Now, there is something that's becoming a very, very popular thing, or maybe already became a very popular thing. It's called Zumba. I know you laugh. Jumba. Jumba?
It's Jewish Zumba.
Jumba is Jewish Zumba? What exactly the difference?
You already answered the face off.
What, the music is different?
It's Jewish girls only. It's not mixed.
No, but I heard that even in ladies only, which is a kosher gym, whatever, they still play this music, and the rabbis in Brooklyn going furious here, and in Lakewood. So what is really the problem? I really don't know what it is, but from what I understand, that there are two problems over there. One is the music. It's not Jewish music, so that's already a problem. And the second problem is the nature of the dancing. The nature of the dancing is not modest, you may say, but it's female only. It's not in front of men. So of course, they don't have a problem of dancing in front of a man, which is a serious sin. The problem in a person's life, there is a rule in the Torah. After the actions follows the heart. When you dress like a goy, when you eat like a goy, even if it's glad kosher, when you listen to the music of the goyim, when you dance like the goyim, you become a goy in everything else that you do in your life. You may say, what's the connection? This is the way the world is. This is the way Hashem made it. Same thing the other way around. You can see a non-Jew, he begins to behave like a Jew. All of a sudden he eats kosher only. You tell him, you don't need. You can buy half a price. No. If Hashem said to the Jews not to eat his food, who am I to touch it? You are allowed. I know I'm allowed, but I also know Hashem doesn't like this kind of food. That's why he told his children to eat only this one. So I want to be in a top VIP league. I don't want to be in a second or third league. There's a lot of goyim that are very clever. Or, I just found out yesterday that a non-Jewish woman, she thinks she's Jewish because, the Moranos, the many Spanish goyim, they have Jewish roots. But of course, you cannot rely on a rumor in a family that your grandma or aunt, somebody was Jewish or half Jewish. You cannot rely on it to think that you're Jewish just because you feel a Jew. You must have a conversion. But regardless, there's a woman that technically, according to halacha, she needs a conversion. And 3 years she goes to the mikveh for her husband. Jewish ladies, you have to beg them with tears. Baruch Hashem. Yeah. You're moving too slow today. You're moving too slow. I think you had a heavy dinner. You're moving too slow. As soon as I said mikveh, the darkness came. But you see, one thing I just learned. This lady over there was standing next to the light. As soon as the light went off, she almost got a heart attack. She thought maybe she touched the switch. So I happened to see it. I'm thinking to myself, imagine if we stand in front of Hashem and we just find out that accidentally we did this and this and that. What a shock we're going to get. But you have to multiply it by 1 billion. This is only one incident.
You were just thinking that maybe the angel of Esau coming to turn on the light.
Baruch Hashem. So let's move on. I'm already becoming allergic now. So it says like this. So
you were saying something
about the mikveh, yeah. So technically, if she doesn't know she's Jewish or not, 100%, it's you have to, Jewish women, they have to beg them to go to the mikveh and explain to them what a horrible sin is to live together with their husband without it. Many times you speak to the women and, they hear the logic. They hear what Hashem wanted by making this mitzvah. He wanted to renew the temptation between husband and his wife every month, again and again and again, on and off. It creates always new desire. The problem is when people will live without mikveh, usually 6 months after the marriage, their marriage is either over or is 80%, 90% over. Because it's already, the beauty of the marriage, part of the marriage is intimate relationship between husband and his wife. If he doesn't have it in a marriage, you cannot call it a marriage according to the Torah. Even if they're both very righteous people. She reads Tehillim all day and he learns Torah all day. So it's two righteous roommates. But marriage you don't have over there. Because marriage have few pillars that hold the marriage. One of them is intimate relationship. And once it doesn't exist, X amount of time you can survive. After that, there's no point of staying there. So the point here that we're speaking here, that sometimes you beg the woman to do it, and she refuses. Usually, what's the final card that you have, like the final card that you pull to win the game, is when I explain to them that according to the Torah, a husband that touches his wife, he lives with his wife intimately without mikveh, it's a bigger sin than living with his own mother. When the ladies hear about that, they get the shock of their life, and also the husband. And of course, they refuse to believe. What? You compare this to this? And then you show them in the Torah. that the Torah was extra careful. When the Torah said to a person, do not live with your own mother, the Torah just said, don't do it, it's a sin. Or when it comes to his own wife, without the mikveh, the Torah didn't say, don't do it with your wife without mikveh. The Torah said, don't come even near her. There's an extra warning, not to even come near. So over here we have an extra fence. It's not one fence, it's two fences. One, it's the actual sin, and one is another fence to make sure that you don't come to the area which happened to lead to a forbidden relationship.
But why with the wife? Because naturally you would want to be together with your wife. With your mother, you don't want to be naturally together. So the Torah had to give you a warning, don't come close, because if you touch, it's going to lead to...
Yeah, but it's not only the mother, it's also many other examples.
Right, but the wife is
with the wife is the worst. With his own wife without mikveh, it's the worst warning. You understand? So what we see here, mikveh, nida, according to the Zohar, the impurity of nida cannot be even described in words. The Zohar says a woman in a state of impurity, before she went to the mikveh, she's not even allowed to come to the shul and look at the Sefer Torah. That's how impure this impurity of nida. You know, so just to give us an idea, we're not talking here about dirt or physical cleanness or things like that. It's nothing to do with how clean you are, or it can be 500 showers you took today, it's still impure. And then you can be very sweaty and very dirty, but you went to the dirty mikveh, but it's natural water, and you're pure. You're dirty, but you're pure. You're clean, but you're impure. It's two different categories. Don't get confused. So let's move on. So let's see some of the things that happens to us on a daily or weekly basis. First, someone who deal with the public to bring them closer to religion, close to the Torah. Lectures, he's hosting lectures in his home, he's playing music on the radio, things like that. Is he allowed to violate some of the laws of modesty for the sake of heaven? Like we said, the matara mekadeshet et ha'emtzaim. How do you say this in English? The goal is...
All the means are good to reach the goal.
Can't you find something shorter?
The ends justify the means.
Oh, you see?
Aha.
Very good. So the question is, I violate a small rule and prevent much bigger sins thanks to that violation. So is it such a concept in Judaism, let me make a little sin to prevent hundreds or tens of people to commit a much bigger sin? Or even on a one-on-one basis, I'll make a small sin in order for this person who listens to me not to make a sin of karet, which is the soul gets cut up. He loses olam haba. I get the punishment. I'll get whatever Hashem wants. If I deserve a punishment, I'll take it. Worth it for me to suffer a little bit, and my friend would not lose his eternity. So it makes a lot of sense, no? That's actually a sign of righteousness. The answer is, it's not a mitzvah. Mitzvah הבאה בעבירה אינה mitzvah. There's a solid rule in Judaism, mitzvah that comes through a sin, it's attached to a sin at the same time, then automatically the mitzvah is not count. It's not a mitzvah. Hashem does not need people to violate His truth and His rules in order for them to follow other rules. No, there's no such thing. The Torah was very precise. Sometimes there's permission to violate the rules. Life risk, you violate Shabbat. Life risk, you violate kosher food. You're allowed to eat dogs if your life is in a risk. No problem, it's not a sin. It contaminates the soul, of course, reality, or worms, but if your life is in a risk, you're not getting any punishment for that. If you don't eat, you get punished. Now it turns around. If you can eat and you don't eat, then you get punished that you died for nothing. You understand? So the idea is, what's going on here? So let's give some example, more specific example.
What about going in places? A lot of rabbis go to places to take out, to do kiddush.
That's the question. So, for instance, am I allowed to violate the laws of modesty כדי לקרב אנשים ליהדות, to bring people closer to Judaism? The answer is no permission whatsoever. No permission whatsoever. There used to be a singer, without going into names, they used to make a lot of people come in contact with Judaism. Contact with Judaism, which means some Jews, American Jews, hippies, rock and roll, all this generation of the 70s, they didn't know anything from Judaism. They went to public school. What did they know? They knew Woodstock. They know all these rock and roll bands. All of a sudden, a religious one with yarmulke, Rabbi, comes with guitar, plays nice music. People come, they dance. It becomes a happening, you know. So that's a replacement for the real thing, what they used to all their life. So it's something similar a little bit. It's not in the same level, of course. We know they don't have 500,000 people, but 50 people, 100, 500, whatever. It's a small concert. Over the years, you know what it is? Once you start something, sometimes it's very difficult to stop it, just like in drugs. Person starts with very light drugs once in a while, and then a little more, a little more, a little more, until you come 2-3 years later, he's a junkie on the street. There's nothing you can do for him already. When he started, you told him, don't touch this poison. He said, it's once in a while, I'm not going to get addicted, I know myself. But all the junkies on the streets, that their life is over and they lost everything they had, and they're about to die any minute, they also thought in the first time when they smoke that it's only going to end up in once in a while. But people are not thinking. So the point was that while he was playing, women started to get up, and now you cannot stop them in a concert. What are you going to stop the song in a minute? Satan is here, chazak today. Why? That's because of looking at the Pope too much in the last 48 hours. That's the reaction now. That reminds me about a guy. There's a party of guys, they drink a little bit, you know, they're all happy, so they finish the wine. So one of them said to his friend Moshe, go down to the basement, bring more wine. So he went down to the basement, he cannot find anything. Oh, wow. He cannot find, so he said, it's all dark. So it wasn't like today that you have lights everywhere. It was in the old days, there's no light. So they screamed to him, stay 5 minutes down in the basement, your eyes will get used to the dark. So after 5 minutes, he came up and he brought some good wine. He said, amazing, what an advice you gave me. After being 5 minutes over there, I felt like it's a daylight. So that's the mashal. What's the nimshal? That's the parable. What's the message? You decided to test me real good today.
Is it kosher that women sitting in the area with no light?
So now,
Get used to the darkness, it seems like light.
so what happens is when a person lives in a spiritual darkness, it looks like a light for him. He begins to give excuses why it's kosher, why it's mitzvah. It's mitzvah that I live here. You know, it's all for the sake of heaven. Anyway, we're back to what we said.
So once the women get up, then you can...
So women started to get up. That's good. You have to be attached. No, you have to be attached to me. That every time I get off the track, you remind me where I was. So women started to get up, and he didn't stop it. And then he was involved, at that time he was involved with the Chabad movement. So the Lubavitcher Rabbi called him, and he said to him, there are certain things you do, it's violations of the rules. Women get up, they begin to dance in a concert. So he said to the Rebbe, he said to him, what do you expect me to do? People come, it's the only time they're going to hear something Jewish, because in his songs he used to tell stories about Hashem and about love of Hashem and the beauty of the Torah. It was very emotional things. People were wiping their tears. And they bring them to get involved with learning some Torah, and some of them started to learn seriously. You know, it made some impact. So what happened is, so the Rabbi told him, the Rabbi knew He's violating rules. But at the same time, he also knew that to save a soul of a Jew, it's like saving the whole world. The Rabbi had a lot of Yirat Shamayim, was afraid to tell him stop, because it's a very big decision. But at the same time, he was afraid to tell him continue. It's a catch-22. What do you do in a case like this? You cannot tell a person, continue with your sin as long as you make Baalei Tshuva. It's not working this way. You cannot do it. At the same time, you tell him, no, stop. You're taking full responsibility for all the tshuva will be prevented. So he told him, I cannot tell you what to do, and I cannot tell you what to do. And Be'ezrat Hashem, whatever you choose to do, Hashem will help that it will be good. But then there was one, like a nice mild warning. After a while, the women were there, and he started to hold their hands when they were dancing. And then they put a next on him. They said, that's it, kiruv, but up to here. What happened now?
It was worse though.
Reality-wise, many people became religious, cannot deny it. Reality-wise, his daughter now became Reform. She left being Orthodox. And now, yesterday she said, my father was really Reform. He wasn't Orthodox, even though he was Talmid Chacham. He was an Orthodox rabbi most of his life, at least. And even if a person make a sin, doesn't mean his rabbi title is gone, So the point is that she was speaking about what kind of reform, making changes. What changes? No Orthodox rabbi will hold the hand of a lady while she's dancing in an auditorium, That's what she meant, reform. But when we say reform, we mean people that took the Torah and modified the actual Torah from A to Z. So everything is allowed. Basically, by them, there's not one thing that is not allowed. There's no such thing not allowed by reform. By reform, everything is allowed. They don't have one restriction. The 365 restrictions of Torah does not exist by them. Everything is allowed. You can eat pork on Yom Kippur, you can marry goyim, you can marry men with men, you can get married to your dog, you can, whatever you want, it's allowed. No joke. No joke. Go open on YouTube and see, Reform Rabbi make bar mitzvah for a dog. We got him tefillin. When I saw that, I was thinking to myself, poor Sofer, the one who sat for days to write this tefillin. He got his money. But imagine if he knows that these tefillin got to that Jew and ended up on the head of that dog. What an embarrassment is that for the sofer. I see it, I go to the mikveh, I write kavanot, in the end, the dog got it. I'll tell you a story that happened in Israel. One day in a shul in Israel, a Chiloni guy, Itzik, he comes into the shul in a ponytail, the usual earring, few tattoos coming from his sleeveless shirt, and he comes to the shul, he grab a siddur, and then when they all say Kaddish, he starts to say Kaddish, and all of a sudden he has some tears. So what everyone thought, okay, probably his father or mother died. He finally remembered Hashem, there's a shul, you have to come to say Kaddish. The Rabbi is being nice about it. The Rabbi, the one in charge of the shul, he comes to him, say, hi, nice to meet you. My name is Shalom. So he say to him, okay, Shalom Aleichem. He say, what's your name? Itzik. What brings you here? Father, mother, what happened? So he said to him, no, my dog died. True story, not a joke. He said, my dog died. I hope that his soul rests in heaven. So the Rabbi got shocked. He saw a lot of strange things in his shul. Something like this he didn't see. He has to say Kaddish for the dog. So they went to ask Rav Zilberstein, who went and asked Rav Steinman, Rav Aaron Leib Steinman, Gdol Ador, 100 years old. This is a fresh story in the last year. So he asked Rav Steinman first if they're allowed to let him say Kaddish, knowing he's saying Kaddish for a dog. And second, if you cannot stop him, let's say, but should I even answer Amen? Person come and say Kaddish for his father, mother, mitzvah, fine. So everybody answer Amen. But you say Kaddish for the dog.
You can have a Jewish soul in the dog.
There was a similar story, before I tell you the answer to this question, there was a similar story, there's a shul in Israel, until today, it's called Bet Knesset Igor. You never heard that story? Bet Knesset, Igor Shul. Igor. What's the story with this Igor? One guy, his dog died, and he wanted to donate money to build a shul. And he asked if he can name the shul after the love of his life, his dog. So what happened in the end? He made a shul. It's called Bet Knesset Igor. Most people don't know that Igor is a dog. Because in Israel they call the dogs by names of all kinds of goyim. Steve, Jack, Igor, Vladimir. They have names for the dogs. The most common name for the dogs when I was a kid, Steve. Stevie, come here. An American Jew come on the street walking, Steve. He tells her, what do you call my dog? What an insult for him. Call your dog Steve? So anyway, so they ask, are you allowed to let him say Kaddish? The answer is yes. Why? One thing, the fact that we know what's in his mind doesn't elevate or lower the mitzvah. The mitzvah, he praise Hashem? Yes. He came to the shul to praise Hashem? That's his intention. Why he came to praise Hashem? It's a side reason. But right now he's standing here praising Hashem, and we hear it, we must answer Amen. Later, Rav Steinman say, after a few days that he begin to get involved, slowly you tell him that the dog doesn't have a soul. And the dog may have soul live inside of his body, but the dog itself doesn't have a soul. You understand or no? Wicked people come reincarnated in dogs. Gilgul. But the dog by itself, when he's born and comes to the world, he has nefesh. He has something spiritual, it's called nefesh, but it's not a soul. Someone sent me a few days ago, and I posted on my Facebook page, someone sent me an article about a 3-year-old kid that remember his previous life. You saw that or no? You have to see it. He was murdered in his previous life. And he told the police now, in his new body, who the murderer is. And the police, based on his testimony, arrested the murderer. Now, right now, it just fresh came out of the oven. I wish I knew that story when they started to bark at me when I spoke about Gilgulim, reincarnation. Oh, there's no such thing, Gilgulim. Yes. Solid proof. You don't need more than that. You don't need hypnosis, nothing. Little kid, 3 years old, he comes, he say, my name used to be this and this, I used to live right here, this is my home, and I got killed. And you know what? In the place where he got shot, he has a mark over there. It's very interesting. I one time saw a lecture about life after death, reincarnation. People who were hypnotized and got murdered, they checked in the body and they saw where the bullet or the knife went in, they usually have a birthmark. Very interesting. It's like indicating about what happened to them in their previous life. That's, by the way, the reason why it's mitzvah to mourn about somebody that died, but it's no point of getting killed over it. Person should not kill himself over it for one reason. You cry for the deceased person, and in the meantime he came back in a new body, he's happy in some living room in Yerushalayim. His father is a big rabbi, he crawl on a rug, eats bamba, and you stand here, and you stand over here and cry. What do you cry for your father? Your father is already a happy man. He eats lots of chocolate, he crawl on a rug, in 10 years from now they'll make him bar mitzvah. Why are you crying so much? Do you understand the idea here? Fine. But most people that cry for their parents that died or anybody else that they knew, right? If you play the video for 1 minute and you see that these people already living among us in a different body, do you think they'll continue to cry? They'll have a relief, no? Baruch Hashem, he's back in the world, he's happy, he's eating good. That reminds me about another joke. One guy had a kid, and one day the kid does not come from school, and the father was very stingy man. So the boy doesn't come. In the evening he gets a call. Are you Mr. Such and Such? Yes. We want $3 million for your son. They kidnapped him. So he said, can I ask you a few questions? Say, yes. He said, tell me, does he have a bed? Say, yes. Does he eat? Yes. 3 meals a day? Yes. He has something warm to wear? Yes. Can you come take my other son? It cost me too much. You want 3 million? Come, I'll give you another one for free. Buy one, kidnap one, get one free. Anyway, so back to what we said. We cannot make mitzvah through or together with a sin. But I'll ask you a question now. One time, a person got married and he had a girl. And then he got divorced. His wife didn't want him. So now he had one girl, but he did not make the mitzvah of pru urvu, because he need to have a boy and a girl. He must have a boy and a girl. So now he saw he's getting older and older and older. Nobody wants to marry him anymore. So he was such a fanatic person about the mitzvah of pru urvu. He said, there's no such thing. I'm going to leave this world without a boy. So what did he do? The most horrible thing you can imagine. He went and raped a woman. And she became pregnant and he had a boy. The boy is his son. Now the question is, did he make the mitzvah of pru urvu? Forget about the sin. The sin, horrible sin, is going to get a huge punishment for the sin. The question is, did he make mitzvah pru urvu or no?
Yes.
He had a girl. If he had another girl, he of course did not make pru urvu. Oh, so I just spoke to you 5 minutes ago. Actually, 1 minute ago. 1 minute ago, I just explained that if there is mitzvah that was done through a sin, the mitzvah is cancelled.
Because it's 9 months later.
Ah, very good. We have a Rabbi here. She's right. I never believed someone would know the answer. So usually everybody that you ask, of course it's not a mitzvah. It's mitzvah ba'avera, and not mitzvah. It's mitzvah that comes through a sin. But the rule, when we say mitzvah ba'avera, mitzvah who comes through a sin, has to be be'ai idna at the same time, the Gemara said. If the mitzvah is, the avera is now and the mitzvah is 10 minutes later, it's already two separate transactions. So now, when he did the sin, today he made a horrible sin. And whatever Hashem will give him eventually. 9 months later, the woman gave birth.
But in this case, the mitzvah comes directly caused by Avera, not by done through Avera or be accompanied by Avera, but it caused.
Yeah, but that's called grama. You know what grama? Grama means it's a cause. It's like a chain reaction. One thing leads to another. It's guaranteed to happen. We know it, right? But it's not a direct transaction. It's one transaction who led to another. It will always lead to the same thing later on. We know it. But since it wasn't direct, same thing killing a person indirect. If I come in with a knife and stick it to a person's heart, then I'm subject to a death penalty. But if I see there is a very big chandelier, and he's standing right under the chandelier, and I take the knife, and I throw it on a wire, it cuts the wire, and the chandelier fell on his head. And then he died. Does it make a difference how I killed him? If I stuck it in his heart or the chandelier fell on his head? Apparently, yes. If I killed him with my hand, then it's a direct murder. Direct murder, direct execution. Indirect murder, when you come to Hashem, He's going to take care of you. But right now, the Beit Din cannot execute him. But that's only applied to a Jew. By a goy, it doesn't matter how he kill. Even with grama, is subject to death penalty. You see, the goyim has only 7 laws, but the punishments of the 7 laws is more severe than the Jews. For instance, if a goy stole, he's subject to death penalty. If a Jew stole, he has to pay double. What's double compared to death penalty? A person will pay 100 times more not to die. So it's a much, much easier penalty. But a goy, he killed, he stole, and he knows it's a violation of the 7 rules, he's subject to execution already. It's very interesting how Hashem gave them very little restrictions, but each restriction with such a severe punishment. The only problem, the Goyim have no idea what it is, B'chlal. They have no idea. It's very, very strange. To be, for instance, a Muslim, there's no bigger curse in life than this. Not because of Islam, because of the concept. Let me explain to you something. The Christians, they have nothing to do. They basically do whatever they want, and they call themselves religious. But really, there's no restriction. They basically allowed everything, and even if there is some restrictions over there, you give $50 to the father, you say, Machu lecha, Machu lecha, Machu lecha, no problem, come again, finish. And if the father is not strong enough to erase your sin, don't worry, JC will take the suffering on himself. He's already doing it for 2,000 years, so everyone is covered. You have an umbrella insurance. The father is the insurance in the church, and JC is the umbrella insurance. So you can do whatever you want. That's basically the concept of Christianity. But Islam, it's a strict religion. There's restrictions over there. You have to fast, you have to dress in a certain way, you have to pray 5 times a day, you're not allowed to eat pork. Many of the things they copy from Judaism. So actually, 2 Arabs, listen to this, it sounds like an absurd, but it's 100% truth. 2 Arabs, one religious fanatic in Islam, and one completely not religious in Islam. Who Hashem loves more? The one who prays 5 times a day, doesn't touch pork, scream, do all kinds of things, fasting 40 days in Ramadan. 40 days they fast from morning to evening. And Abdallah, his friend, does whatever he wants. Eat pork, does not fast ever. Whatever he wants to do, he does. Which one is worse in the eyes of Hashem?
He keeps the Sheva Mitzvahs, the first one? He keeps the Sheva Mitzvahs?
He hates the Jews. Well, he kills someone if they don't do the right thing. I don't think so.
Well,
the second one.
The answer is, the one that is more religious in Islam will get a bigger punishment than Hashem than the one that is secular in Islam.
what's wrong with
I tell you why.
that?
Why? I tell you what. It's just like Reform Jew and secular Jew. Who is a bigger criminal? The Reform is much bigger criminal, even though at least he declares he believes in Hashem. Not all of them. Some of them say there's no Hashem, or some of them say the Torah is not from Hashem. But there are some normal, a little bit ones that they say, yeah, of course, we believe there's a creator. And the secular guy say, I don't believe in creator, I don't believe in Torah, I don't believe in anything. But the Reform modified the book of God. He has the nerve to take a divine book and modify it according to his own wishes or understanding, or whatever you want to call it. The secular say, leave me alone. Not interested to keep the law. I want to do whatever I want. End of story. He's not coming and say, no, you're allowed to kill. You're allowed to steal. You're allowed to marry men with men. You're allowed to marry goyim. He doesn't say it. He said, whatever the law is, I'm not interested. Goodbye. You be religious in your place. I'll be secular in my place. Leave me alone. In reality, they both don't keep. The Reform keeps nothing. The secular keeps nothing. But the Reform is a bigger criminal. Will get a bigger punishment from Hashem. By Islam, the same thing. There's no, Hashem didn't tell the Goyim to fast. The Goyim don't have to fast. If they have a tragedy and they want to fast, like it happened in Nineveh, Yonah, the prophet, came to the Goyim and they fast and it helped them. No problem. But in general, as a holiday, the Goyim has no holidays. The fact that the Goyim come and invent holiday like Christmas or Ramadan or Eid al-Fitr and all these things that they have, that makes Hashem more angry than anything you can imagine. I have my Torah, and the Torah has the only holidays, and they are very, very specific to the Jews, and they come and they make their own holiday, and they claim that God gave those holidays. That's like the Reform. Same idea. Modifying the truth of God. That's why they're going to get a severe punishment. So it's actually the Arab who does whatever he wants is a less criminal than the one who invented all these strict laws and follow them. Why? Because it's all human laws. You understand what's going on here?
So how come Hashem listens to the Sibur of the Arabs and they daven, you know?
The Arabs have few merits, few of them. One is when you pray to Hashem, you can pray even 50 times a day. Jew, Goy, the more you pray, the better it is. Hashem accepts filat kol peh, even the Goyim. So that's no problem. The claim that Hashem order us to pray 5 times a day, that's a lie. He can pray 50 times a day, no problem. The actual prayer is not a problem. Every guy is allowed to pray to Hashem. They're not praying to a human being like the Christians. They're praying directly to Hashem. So they can pray all day, no problem. Hashem listen to their prayers. The reason that they have all kinds of gifts that they get is, main reason is their modesty. That the women cover themselves. They make a lot of sins in hidden rooms, but in public, they don't dress like some of the other ladies do. So that's a schut. What do you think? Because Hashem doesn't like zima, even when the goyim do it. Because the Torah said that Hashem told us when we came to Eretz Israel that the main 2 reasons that Hashem threw the goyim out of Israel and gave us the land is their idol worshipping and their lack of modesty crimes. Those are the 2 main reasons. That the land vomit them. Hashem said, I'm throwing them out of the land, not because you, the Jews are righteous, I'm giving you the land. It's in the Torah. I'm giving you the land because you are bad and they are worse. That's basically what the Torah said. You shouldn't laugh, you should cry. Now it was the time to cry. There will be time to laugh. Right now everyone was supposed to cry. It's the same thing like by the wedding. When is the happiest moment in the wedding? From the minute everyone walk into the hall until the end. When is the moment that all the excitement explode and everyone begin to scream and to jump and the music? When is it? After they smash the glass. This was the moment that everyone was supposed to cry for a minute. Why? Because this is the memory of the destruction of Bet HaMikdash. Now inside the party, we want to show Hashem, listen, we are now happy, we're dancing, we're drinking a little bit. We did not forget that your home is destroyed. So as soon as we do it, Hashem, this is for the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, everyone begin to dance. Everything is opposite in this world. Everything. Ignorance is very painful. Yeah.
Is it necessary for someone to mention before so people will actually know in advance that the glass is a commemoration?
Well, if people hear this lecture from now on, next time when they smash the glass, they go like this.
Some places they sing.
Tell them to come here.
Okay, I never saw that. All right, let's move on. So, my kid wants to go to learn how to play chess in a special place. Boys and girls mix, teenagers, 12, 13, 14 years old, this kind of kids. Boys and girls mix to play chess. Itzik against Sarit. Good or not? That's the big deal, only playing chess. 3 hours sitting in front of a girl that usually not exactly dressed. 3 hours in front of her, and he asked the rabbi if he's allowed or not. The parent asked. Sometimes from the question, you see how low we came.
It's already a date.
Huh?
It's already a date. You're focusing.
It's already a date, yeah. That's even worse than public school. Those kinds of chugim. How do you say chugim? Chug. After school activities. You don't have a shorter version? Does a woman allowed in a ceremony to get on a stage in front of all the men and give a speech? The answer is no. What happens if she stands in a corner that nobody sees her, but they only hear her speaking on a microphone? The answer is allowed. Women allowed to talk in public if nobody stare at their body, but they're not allowed to sing in public, unless if it's only women. Men cannot hear women singing, even many women together, a choir, which is hard to focus which one has the nicest voice. Doesn't matter. When the ladies sing, a man should not listen to it. However, if a person hears a CD of a woman, if it's kosher song, and he never saw the image of this woman in his life, doesn't know who she is. Someone told him, you should have to hear this music. And he play it, and he doesn't know who she is. No, there's no picture on a CD, He doesn't know her name, nothing. He puts it in a CD. He did not violate any rule. But after he sees her for 1 second, that's it. The image is engraved in his subconscious. Now every time he hears the voice, automatically he begins to think about her. What happened in concert that the orchestra and the singer has some of the players in his band, women. The piano, she sees it, or violin. They don't sing, they don't dance, they just play music. And the singer could be a religious guy. But in his band, there's a woman there. And she stands on the stage, and she goes like this, and the piano. Give her a round of applause. She goes like this, Allowed or not allowed? If he cannot find another player to play for him, he has to highlight her. To hide her, not to highlight her. The Satan is very present here today. The Satan is very strong today. She has to be as modest as possible. If the piano hides her, no problem. She sits in the back. But what usually they do, they put her all the way in the front. I went to a wedding here in Ocean Parkway, just to say Mazal Tov. It was like this. In the middle of the chuppah. She runs and plays. What is this? All the rabbis over there. She comes to the chief rabbi. Imagine if the rabbi would give her ay.
So, Rabbi, where are they supposed to do the chess? All the places are...
Chess? Vladimir against Alexander. Not Vladimir against Sarah. Women will play chess together, men will play chess together.
You know how much I love you. You know how much I respect you. This is not the shoe. This is the chess club. You're not going to tell them to run it by your own rules.
Same thing public school. What's the problem?
There is no kosher chess club.
Think about it.
There is only chess club where people play chess.
You open one, Bezrat Hashem. Here, now you have an agenda, now a plan. You open a kosher chess club. I'll get you the students. You open the place. Baruch Hashem. Something good come out of it.
And God forbid if the coach is a woman, right?
Now, next question. Women, can you address them with the first name, or you have to call her Mrs. Cohen or Mrs. Levy? She's a married woman. You can call her her first name or no?
Today's days, that's normal.
No, it's not.
Answer, you have to call her by her last name, or if you wanna say her first name, say the first name with the last name together. You say the first name and the last name. But if not, you have to say Mrs. such and such. Why? Because when you call a married woman by her first name, it automatically creates friendship between you and her. It's already break the boundaries. I know it sounds far and fanatic, but you, believe it or not, the worst crimes in history started with tiny bricks in a wall. A little crack here and a little crack there, and Hashem Yerachem what it ended up with. Next. Does the Torah wants to put women in a box and hide them from the face of the earth as much as possible? Or women have lots of rights and they can be heard and da. Based on what I say so far, what your impression is, I'm sure the people who would watch the video, especially the beginners, say, oh, wow, Baruch. Now, tomorrow morning when he say, Baruch Ata Hashem Shelo Asani Isha, this lecture will be in his mind. So in case it happened, go to another lecture I gave, the status of a woman in Judaism. It will balance your mind a little bit. But the answer is the Torah is not again. It's something in Israel they call on the news hadrat nashim, like medirim nashim. Go sit in the back of the bus. Not allowed here. You're not allowed there. You're not allowed. Not true. This is already extra fanatic behaving of certain Orthodox people. Is it required by law? No. A woman can sit on a bus? Yes. If she's not modest, it's very hard to sit next to a woman like this or in front of her. That's besides the point. But they are even against ultra-religious women. They don't want them to sit here, there's men here, don't sit over here. Because half of the bus in the back, women, in the front, men. So the answer is, there's no problem of sitting here and a woman sits next to you. No law against sitting next to women on a bus, in public train, whatever, on a plane. Many times on a plane you see persons sit down, all of a sudden you find out that a woman comes sit next to him. Who told you have to turn to her side? Turn to the windows, beautiful view. He gets up, excuse me, can you move here? It's already scandal. And all the studehers of El Al, which they already have up to here from religious people, they want to choke him. Sir, can you sit? But he doesn't understand English. So he answers her in Yiddish, and she gets angry, and she called the captain, and all of a sudden the plane is about to crash. Why? Because there's a girl sitting next to her. Religious girl. Even religious girl. It's all a scandal that is not necessary. You can see it, she can see it. I was in the airport with the biggest Chacham in America at that time, Rav Pam, Rosh Yeshivat Torah Vadat. We got stuck for 7 hours in Cleveland. I came from Milwaukee. The plane landed, emergency landing in Cleveland. That's where I met him. First time in my life I saw him. This was 18 years ago, something like that. And he was learning, and he saw that his wife, he was sitting here, and his wife was sitting across, facing him, and there was a chair next to her where I was embarrassed to sit next to her. After a few minutes, while he was learning in his book, he doesn't take his face out of the book, but he realized that I'm standing and there's a chair available. So he told me, sit, next to his own wife, sit. Why? There's a separation on the chairs in the airport. What's the problem? You can sit anywhere you want, it's no problem. Not only that, one time I was in Lower East Side and he came to speak, and when they picked him up, there was a woman sitting in the back seat, and he went in the back seat and sat next to her with no separation. Why? His mind is on the woman who sits there. Somebody gives him a ride, he sat in the back. So 2 things I saw with him. One in my own eyes, that he went in the back seat and sat, and one time in the airport that he told me to sit. So obviously, this is such a big tzaddik, chacham. He knew the law. There's no, you make up laws, fine, you can make up laws as much as you want. The problem is when you make up laws and you want to be extra strict, you have to make sure you don't torture other people. Because that's mitzvah, abba ve'avera. You understand? That's mitzvah, abba ve'avera.
See, by Shimshon, there was a complaint that the father followed her. He didn't even know.
Walking behind a woman, the Gemara says clearly not allowed. Even his own wife on the street. It's not modest.
That's why
But sitting on a bench and things like this.
That's why in the buses they would like the women should sit in the back.
Look, if it's religious buses, nobody makes a big deal. You know, everyone already used to the lifestyle of the ultra-Orthodox people. The problem is that in a place like Israel, you have public transportation. You have all kinds of people get on a bus, all the way from Arabs to the chief rabbi of Israel. In the old days, the chief rabbis used to take buses. It's a different world today.
Yeah, it's worse. It's not modern.
Rav Volvi Tzaddik was taking a bus. But Ben Zion Abba Shaul, the biggest chachamim in Yerushalayim, getting on a bus. People begged them to get them a car and to drive them around. No, he got on a bus, paid, he sat there in a bus. That's it. They learn on a bus. But today it's a little bit of a different world today. Okay, let's move on.
What about between 2 women?
Between 2 women is not allowed. That's already for different reason.
Rabbi, interesting question of this one. So let's say that somebody graduates yeshiva and he goes to the New York University or Columbia University. He wants to study there as a college or even to become a doctor.
That's the lecture last night. I spoke about this. On colleges, Touro College, Stern College, YU.
There is no Jewish college.
Yes, there are Jewish colleges.
There is Jewish medical school.
There
is Jewish law school.
That's the lecture last night. As we speak, it's been posted on the website. I smell it.
At least
By the time you come out of this door, you play rewind for last night's lecture and you watch 20 minutes I spoke about colleges. Let's move on. Now, buses, school buses. Should they make separate buses for girls and separate buses for boys? Or there's no problem to make buses for everyone mix?
Yeshiva's buses?
Yeshiva's buses.
How could it be mixed though? It's the whole
Yeshiva
point
separate.
of having a separate yeshiva. How could you have-
He takes the boys to one location. When they're all off, he goes takes the girls 5 blocks away.
At the same time to get on the bus.
No, same time.
Why? If he has a route, all the guys and the girls from the area get on, and the schools between the boys and the girls is 1 block away. What's the problem?
Isn't that like chess clubs?
So you're driving the bus and you have to go back.
The answer, they have to have separate buses. Separate buses. Why? You cannot sit and control what the kids do in the buses. Buses for boys, buses for girls. Next. Mixed beach. How can somebody even ask such a question, right? Only today people send the rabbi a question, Rabbi, am I allowed to go to a mixed beach? That shows this person never opened the Gemara in his life, perhaps. And he asked such a question. No, but I did not finish the question. Mixed beach to someone that take off his glasses and he cannot see anything. Yeah. All he sees is white screen. You know these people that have every lens is a microscope? You know?
Answer is still not allowed. The other people don't know that he cannot see. So he cannot go.
So I tell you, I find you a solution. Baseball hat.
Huh?
Baseball hat. On the beach, you don't need tzitzit. You have baseball hat, take off the glasses, you enjoy the sun. When you go to the water, you go like this, to the water. You swim, maybe you catch a medusa there or something. But that's it. Nothing. Nobody knows who you are. No Chilul Hashem. Nobody know you're religious. You're in, I don't know, Cancun over
So
there.
you're blind.
Blind without the glasses, blind. One time I picked up a guy in Queens Boulevard, Israeli guy, Israeli Yemenite, with a bag like this, just came from some country to America. The owner of the restaurant in Queens Boulevard, this is how he told me, he said, in Hebrew, come quickly to the restaurant. I said, why? In Hebrew, יש לי בשבילך טרף קל. No, translate it in English. Easy what? Pray? Somebody, you talk to him 5 minutes, he will come with you to yeshiva. Why? He doesn't know what he wants from his life. He has no place to live. He arrived to America. He has a bag. Sleep here, sleep there. Talk to him 5 minutes, you bring him to the yeshiva. When I hear such a thing, my adrenaline wake up. Right away I came, nice to meet you. What's your name? Oren. Nice to meet you, very nice. We talk for a few minutes. Okay, so you come, give a week a try. Okay. Like he said, very easy. No resistance whatsoever. On the way to Monzi, he looks at me, I see he's having a second thought. Satan was a little delayed in his reaction. So he said to me, tell me, over there everyone is black? I mean black clothes, black hats. Or not so black. I say, Abba shel black. The father of all black. So he goes like this, איפה נפלתי? I said, don't worry, 1 week you don't like it, I bring you back to Queens. Put him in yeshiva, one of the biggest success in the history from the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, this guy. I put him in yeshiva, he has such a neshama, this guy, Oren Hajbi his name, in Israel today. He begins to learn Torah, it's like a Tana, with his holiness. After a few weeks, he's in yeshiva. One day I come to the yeshiva at 1 o'clock at night after the lecture. I hear from outside, I hear crying inside the yeshiva. Everyone's supposed to be sleeping, 1 o'clock at night. I get up early in the morning. I hear crying. Come to the yeshiva, he looks like this, turn the light on. I see him holding the Sefer Torah on the floor and do Tikkun Chatzot. Few weeks, crying like this for Bet HaMikdash. Few weeks later, I walk in the street. Why I remember him now? How all of a sudden Hajbi from 16 years ago came to my mind. One day I walk on the street, when I see him walking towards me. So when I see such a tzaddik, it makes me very happy. Oh, Hajbi. So I see, it goes like this. Hello. took his glasses, puts it on. Oh, how are you? Oh, you don't see? From 3 feet. Nothing. So why you walk like this in the street? It's dangerous. I don't want, there's women here. 18 years ago in Muncie, or 16 years ago, you walk a week on the street, you don't find one woman. Not modest. Today you have some cleaning ladies. Modernizacja comes everywhere. The amigas from Mexico occupy the area today. But in those days, it was tiny houses, everyone lived simple life. And maybe accidentally you'll see a woman accidentally made a mistake, got to the area, he walks on the street without his glasses. So somebody tzaddik like he wants to go to the beach. It's very, very healthy to breathe the kaspit. The kaspit is the metal that is in the air. When you breathe, the steam comes from the ocean, which opens the brain. It's very good. Rabbi Zion Abba Shaul, every once in a while, used to go, sit a few minutes outside, smell the steam that come from the ocean, and goes back to the yeshiva. And he asked him, what is this, Rabbi? He said, it's very good for the brain, this kaspit. How do you say it in English, kaspit? You have it in a thermometer, you know? Mercury. That's the right word. It's mercury, to breathe it a little bit when it comes natural from the ocean. It's very healthy for the brain, opens up the brain. Well, brain like him, you can count on one hand how many people in the whole world has. Computer is slow compared to his brain. His brain was so deep that his students until today, as soon as you bring it up, they're like frozen. Such thing, it's once in a blue moon you find a brain like this. Incredible chacham he was in his brain. Amkan, that's what the right word for him. Amkan, everything in his life, he went all the way to the root of the thing. He never settled on understanding 90%. Never. Only until he clarified everything from all directions. So a person that wants to go to the beach and he cannot see anything, allowed or not allowed?
Not allowed, because it doesn't matter, he can see or he cannot see. He is participating in the scene anyway, so he is not allowed.
Exactly. It's the same thing like a woman is not allowed to go to a mixed dancing wedding. What's the problem? She's not having a problem seeing guys dancing a little bit with the tie. What's the big deal? No. It's a place of a big crime taking place right now. When there's a big crime like this, Hashem is very upset. Men and women all naked on a beach, nobody cares, no derech eretz, worse than animal behaving, and you want to sit there? Even nobody knows you're a Jew. Nobody knows you're religious, whatever. But you want to sit mixed with them? That's oy la rasha, oy le shcheno. If it doesn't bother you to stand near these people. I got a message today on a computer today from a guy that he wants to come to the yeshiva, but his parents worry that he will not make money. So he wrote in a message, after I started to listen to your lecture, now every day that I live in my lifestyle, it's such a torture. He used to love his lifestyle, but now he realized it's all fake and lie. So he's tortured not coming to the yeshiva. Now it's the other way around. He is dying to come to the yeshiva, and he has to make his parents agree with a complete heart, not to resist. And right now, he's still worried. Zrat Hashem, they'll give him the opportunity to come. Yeah.
How come in the male mikvahot there's no cinema? Mikvah, the mikvah. Nobody, there's no cinema. Everybody walks around with that clothes.
Yeah. In Rabbi Aderet's mikveh in Great Neck, nobody walks naked, even a man. Everyone has his own cell, and if he finds somebody walks not modest man, will be the last time he steps in the shul. In my own eyes, I was there one morning, a month ago, 3 weeks ago, and I heard him speaking in a drasha and warn all the members of the shul that if they see a stranger or somebody that doesn't know the rules, right away to inform him that he can warn this person not to walk like this in a mikveh. You're right. It should be more modest. I guess the way people think, man, they come, they go to the mikveh, nobody thinks about anything. But you're right. Today the world is extra dirty and corrupted, which means they have to take precaution in any possible way that you can think of.
Women have the mitzvah Shemer Sinai?
Yes. Women also are included, ונשמרתם מכל דבר רע, and לא תטורו אחרי עיניכם ואחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם. It also applies to women. Women not allowed. I spoke about it last night in a lecture. All these questions you ask him, I can't blame you, because I'm continuing this series in different locations. If everything was here and you didn't show up, then it's your problem. The problem is I do it in different places, so you have to just, you'll catch up. It's on the last night lecture, Women's Shmirat HaEinayim. Basketball for girls. Allowed when the coach is a male. Sarah, Rachel, jump, there. On the floor, up, down. Allowed, not allowed.
According to what you're saying, basketball for women not allowed, period, without who is the coach. They're going to be what, with the short?
Why? In a gym they can wear pants and play.
Women only.
No, I'm talking about basketball, but who are they going to play with them? No public events. No.
5 girls against 5 girls. What's the problem?
Locally.
Locally in a gym.
Not New York against...
Not in Harlem.
Yeah.
Over there, before they get into the court,
That's really smart.
we'll have to... Huh?
That's really smart enough.
Yeah.
Kosher basketball. Long pants, bigger ball, wider basket.
Are you, when you make a flyer for any kinds of purpose, you want to promote the shul, lectures, and you want to show in a flyer event, are you allowed to put in a flyer's picture of women, or in a newspaper, modest women? Ultra-Orthodox, modest, real modest, but pictures of women in newspapers. Allowed or not allowed?
Some do, some don't.
Chassidim would say absolutely not.
The answer is no, it's not tzanua. Why? You think, but they dress. When the woman is live, a person is embarrassed to stare at her like this. He's embarrassed. But when he has the picture, who is holding him from staring? Oh, that's the girl I dated once and she didn't want me. 3 days like this. Women, real kosher women, will never allow anyone to take pictures of them in general. Only in their own camera, or if they put it in their own computer, nobody have access to it, between the kids, the husband, fine. But somebody else take pictures of women, you have no control where your picture's gonna be.
Rabbi, I've seen it back.
They're taking it at the wedding, but they don't publish it. They're taking it at the wedding and they're giving it to the families.
Women allowed to ride bicycle on the street?
Yes, depends on if she's modest dressed.
If she wear a white skirt that covers, yes.
She's not supposed
In Antwerp, everyone was on bikes. I was there a few times in Belgium.
on the set.
Male, women, Hasidische Rebbitzen, they're all on a bike. The Rosh Yeshiva on a bicycle. The Rebbitzen, 60 years old, on a bicycle. Everyone is over there on a bicycle in Europe. They have special routes. In London also, I saw lots of bicycles. Holland, Europe.
Yeah, but the girl's not supposed to sit on this kind of a saddle. On a bicycle. That's not because of
In Israel they have a say. I'm going to tell it to you in Hebrew.
Am I right or wrong?
You know what they say? Maybe I'll tell it to you later.
Why some rabbis say it's not modest for women to bike at all?
Some rabbis also say it's not modest for women to drive a car. But that's not the halacha. That's not halacha. That's already extra. A speaker must know to tell his listeners what's the requirement by law. Up to now it's the law. From now on it's up to your wish. You want to be Rabbi Akiva? Go ahead. The danger of being Rabbi Akiva, when you actually Haman inside, how long the show would last? 3-4 weeks until you collapse to become a complete goy. Someone who is not in a spiritual level and he tried to pretend he's a Rosh Yeshiva, sooner or later you would find that he writes in the internet against the Torah and beg people to become Chalelei Shabbat. What caused it? That he went from 0 to 100 in 2 seconds. Well, my friend, it's not working this way. You have to build step by step. You jump all the way up, you have a serious problem.
But there's such a thing as Gedolim. Gedarim. Even though a thing may...
Gedarim, yes. A person can make Gedarim on himself. Nobody can tell him not to. But to force others to go by his name. For instance, a person wants to accept Shabbat early. He cannot look at other people that they are sinners. He accepts Shabbat 7. 7 o'clock, Shabbat for him. Everybody else drive 5 minutes to 8. They still drive. Shabbat is 8:20, 8:15. But he is already used to accept Shabbat. So after a while, he thinks for himself, what loser I live with. Wait until the last minute when Shabbat starts and they start. They can't accept Shabbat nice an hour before. So he's already thinking, I'm a tzaddik and they're all reshaim. Based on what? Did they do anything wrong? No. They do exactly what the Torah allowed to do. This is the danger for someone who is not in the right level, that not only should not be too extreme and too strict more than what the requirements are, it actually made all his extra become sins. You understand? So sometimes you see two Jews, one is extra fanatic and one is not, and the fanatic is more wicked. Why? Because every time he does extra, it makes him feel I'm special and everyone here is a loser. That's the sin of the yuhara, ga'ava, pride, ego. That's a very big sin. If a person is inside feel I'm nothing, whether I'm doing extra here and doing extra, I'm still nothing. And he's good, and who knows, maybe he's much better than me. That's the right approach. But by me doing something extra and looking at everyone else, what losers, that's against the Torah. It's a serious problem. By the way, that's one of the major problems that Judaism has today. Some people made themselves certain laws according to the customs in Europe or in the Middle East or whatever, and everybody else who did not come from that place, that they behave a little bit different, they look at them, shegets. Not only he won't marry you, he doesn't want to stand next to you. If he doesn't have a choice, he'll count you as one of the minyan. Why? Why he doesn't want to pray with you? Because your shirt is blue and his shirt is white. He thinks he's Rabbi Akiva and he thinks you are Haman. Why? Your shirt is a little color. Color shirt? Oh, shegets. One guy came to me, a real big shot in religion. He said to me, I need you to speak to my son. My son is off the derech. I was expecting to see somebody ponytail, earrings, maybe a few tattoos. Mother off the derech, smoking, something. I said, okay, where is your son? Okay, come to my house. I see beard, dress a little nice, all different colors, brown jacket, pants, I think beige, not black and white, no hats, but yarmulke. Comes in, I begin to talk to him. Learns everyday Torah, honest, decent, perfect midot, humble, down to earth, very clever, asking questions exactly the way he should. I was thinking to myself, every normal person would scream to the sky, thank you Hashem for giving me such a great son. And his father tells me he's off the derech. I said, his father doesn't know what off the derech is. So I said to the father, what exactly you saw off the derech in your son? I'm still naive in those days. He told me he doesn't want to dress like a chassid. That's already a goy, shegets. In reality, that boy, I promise you, could be, I don't know, Hashem only knows, could be better than half of his friends of the father that he admires so much. He comes, the Mashiach come, he'll say to that boy, come. So wait a minute, you have this, and you have this guy, and you have this one. No. Wait online, he's before all of you. This is what we're talking about. Sometimes the extras become a cancer. Not that I'm against to be strict, no. Not that I'm against to make boundaries and fences and all that. It's very good. The Torah says, "V'asiu mishmeret lemishmarti." Make a fence around mine. But to make it and become full of ego and look at everyone else like they shegets and they nothing, that's a very big criminal, my friend. You're going to have to face a very serious allegation. You come in front of Hashem because everyone around you was not like you is a criminal. And in reality, they're more righteous than you in many ways. Not always, but many times, yes. So you look at him down, in reality he's 10 times better than you. Isn't it a shame? Not to talk about the racism and all kinds of other stupid delegations that people have for nothing, really for nothing. And not to talk that it breaks family or it prevents the right shidduchim. People do not marry their real soulmate because of all kinds of horrible opinions that they learn from their parents or whenever they grew up. It's a serious problem.
Rabbi, I heard in Lakewood, if the father doesn't wear a white shirt, they don't accept the kids to the yeshiva.
That's what I'm talking about. No, what can you do? That's the way the world is.
Not anymore.
What am I real?
So, I mean, maybe halachas needed to be known.
No, but I give you another example. Sometimes they make an extra strict law, and they don't want people to come there because they know if people that do not accept this law on themselves will come to our mikveh, they will come to our school, it's just a matter of time that all our people will become like them because this is the nature of people. I give you an example. If a father keep Chalav Israel in his house, he does not bring OUD. OUD is kosher. It's not that it's not kosher. Chalav Israel is more strict. It was supervised better, that's all. So now, the father has the right to tell his sons, who in your class keep Chalav Israel, they're allowed that you bring them in a house, you play with them, no problem. Why kids exchange chocolates, things? It's very difficult now as a group of kids. He's allowed, but he's not allowed. What's going on here? He's allowed, he can eat, and this kid watch him eating, and he cannot eat. It creates problem. So they want the people to come with a more or less same background, you understand? But this you understand, okay? It's not that he looks down at the kid. No, he knows the kid is fine, everything's fine, you know Torah, you know Halacha. He doesn't want his son to be influenced because we have these customs that we like to keep. You understand? This is a different story. That's, by the way, the same reason why the Hasidim shave their head. This is a Hasidish thing. Sfaradim never shave their head. It's against the law for them. Sfaradi that shaved his head, it's a very big sin from the Torah for him. Because Torah said the woman has to have her hair. She comes to the Kohen, he opens up her hair. According to Torah, you see that the woman is supposed to have hair. But for whatever reason, in one generation, they decided to make this decree. There's different reasons why. From the minute they decided to be like this, they became their custom. Now, if somebody else's wife will go to the same mikveh with their beautiful hair, what do you think it's going to create? It creates a bad vibe over there. One, no, you can handle it, stranger. Another one. Same thing, there is a sign in a mikveh, no tattoos allowed. Believe me, the person who put the sign knows that the guy with the tattoo could be more righteous than him or than his rabbi even. Because he's a real serious Baal Tshuva. What is he going to do? It was foolish. He made tattoos. Today it's in style. I don't know where the brains of all these people, every other person you see is covered from tattoo from A to Z. Paying fortune, going through the pain, and it's the ugliest thing you can imagine. If it was allowed according to the Torah, and you pay me $1 million to have a 1-inch tattoo, I would not agree.
Allowed to take it off once he's religious?
He doesn't have to. If he wants, he is allowed. But it's another torture now, with a laser to take it off.
For $1 million, you should do it, because then you can use the money for an ACD, so it's worth it to use it.
Okay, you're right. You grew a beard, your brain opened up too sharp. That's what the Zohar say. When the beard's becoming longer, it opens up the brain. Or you live by the beach. Which one of the two? No, the air. Now, are women allowed to sell on booths? You know, they have these street booths or in a fair or in a store. Ladies, they're allowed to sell or no? The answer, yes, no problem.
Rabbi, is a male shadchan allowed to look at the pictures when he gets resumes for people?
Yes, that's his job. He has to see and try to match them together. But he has to tell the people when they send the picture to make sure they send modest pictures. Because sometimes people don't really think that it's not modest. But once you tell them that, then they get nervous. So they double check, they ask opinion and say, no, it's not modest, send this picture. Now, Cousins want to swim in a pool. Cousins, boys and girls. They say, we're all family. Of course, we won't swim.
Little kids are older.
Not allowed. Cousins get married, so they're not allowed.
Baby's not allowed.
3-year-olds?
Up to 3 years old allowed.
After that, no.
After 3, not allowed. Not only it's not allowed, it's a huge sin. Huge sin. Take a 12 years old cousin and a 12 years old male, 2 cousins, and they swim together with bathing suit. Horrible sin.
What about in the ocean?
In the ocean? It's a sin with a cherry on top.
I'm talking about 10 years old. I'm not talking about bar mitzvah boy. I'm talking about 10 years old.
Up to 3.
Yes. After 3, it doesn't matter where. No.
Yeah, but the beaches in Israel, you have 1 day for male, 1 day for women in the religious areas. And there's also some places that it's all the time males, all the time male and all the time female with a big wall between.
They used to have boys and girls going on Friday afternoon to the sea to swim, and they had a division there.
Right.
In Israel, they have a division.
Climb up on the division, I don't know what they have.
Going out.
What about brothers and sisters?
It was by a guy.
Also, brothers and sisters not allowed from 3 years and older, not allowed to take shower together, naked or bathing suit. You have to separate between brothers and sisters. If you wonder what can happen between brothers and sisters, there were more than 1 billion cases of Gilui Arayot in the last 50 years in the world between brothers and sisters. Not million, billion. So I think it's convincing enough not to mix them. Okay? You don't understand. The people in this world are so sick, so many of them, that I have women who call me to ask me that they're very nervous that the husband gives shower to the kids. They don't sleep at night because they don't trust their own husband. It's happened to me hundreds of times over the years. You understand what kind of marriage they have, who she married now. She's now worried, she's not sure if the husband is kosher or not. Horrible things. Feeding, nursing the baby in public. Baby, brand new baby, needs to eat. What is he gonna do? His mother is in a train station. Millions of people, Manhattan, subway, whatever. She has the baby, he has to eat.
They cover it.
Sometimes they have places that you can hide, and you put a blanket on top, it's allowed. In physiotherapeutic treatment, physical therapies, is a woman allowed to give treatment to a man or no?
Yes.
What about the
So let's first talk about training. When they're still in school, they have to train. Can the woman train on a man, or she has to train on women? If I change the question in the middle, what does it teach you? I started the question in one way and then I changed it to a different question. Did you pay attention or no?
You would think that you're allowed to now, so
Not professional.
Oh, so I went one step before she became a professional, like a doctor that gives treatment to patients. That's already a different category. Now we're talking about practicing. Can manage without you. Practice on buy a doll and practice on it. Practice on a woman. No, it's no emergency here. Nobody is sick. Practice. Get a woman, pay her some money, and practice on her. So it's not allowed. She has to practice on women. But what about the actual treatment? A woman can give treatment to a man. It's very not recommended. If there's nobody else, yes, allowed. But if there is, for instance, a man wants to go to physical therapist, and there is men, there's plenty of men, but he leaves the man and he goes to a woman, then he's a sinner. If he tried, and for whatever reason there's no man in this profession, sometimes I give you an example. A gynecologist A woman has two options, to go to a woman and to go to a man. Every normal woman would prefer to go to a woman than to go to a man. The problem is, since everyone wants the women, there is a 6 months waiting list. So if it's a casual treatment that you do once a year, you already make it a year in advance, 6 months in advance. What's the rush? When the time comes, you go to the lady. The problem is if there's an emergency, all kinds of things, infection, could be even life risk, pregnancy risk, all kinds of things like that. Then it becomes mamash a medical issue. She's allowed to go to a man. If she can go to a male and a female and they bought the same booking, he is giving her in a month and she's giving him in a month. If the woman is just as good as the man, she must go to the woman. Not she can, she must go to the woman. But if the woman is even a little bit less than the man in her level, he's more experienced, he has better reputation, then she's allowed to go to the man. So we see the laws of modesty still exist, but since it's the profession of the person, then the health of the patients, it's something to take to consideration. So you see, the Torah say, when there's no other option, it's allowed. But I tell you a story. When my first son was born, before he was born, we went to a doctor in Manhattan. There's two doctors over there, partners, a fancy office in Manhattan. So we went in. It was 20 years ago almost. So I saw that these doctors, they're not religious. So I started to speak to them. Of course, what am I going to speak to him about? The weather? I'm thinking to myself, this is a doctor who sees miracles every day. How is it possible it doesn't make him think? We began to talk about pregnancy, how a baby is created. So such a miracle, and it doesn't impress you to give the glory to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? So the doctor, as we talk, he doesn't tell me there's no HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we're talking about the treatment. So he said, we're going to do a good job, don't worry, we're very experienced. I said to him, in those days I was more brave than today. I said to him, it doesn't matter you do, you don't do. It's 100% in the hand of Hashem. You're only a shaliach. Hashem decide who live, who not, who will get born, who's not. So he started to get upset. So I said, what do you mean? Of course, Hashem is above everything. But what about us? Without us, people can die. We save life. So the other partner, he was like the quiet one, but when they finally opened their mouth, is a needle to the heart. When he started to talk, I felt that something is not right about him, the way he talks. So I told my wife when we left, I told him, this guy, I don't like him. The other one, fine. He's not religious, but at least he talks to the point. But the other one seems to me crazy. So she laughs at me. Crazy, what crazy? He thought you crazy, that's why he put you down. A few years later, New York State is in a massive shock. All over the television. All over the newspaper. The crazy one that I told her is on the news. What did he do? He did a cesarean and he put his initials on the stomach of the woman. Google it. He made his initials on her stomach. Okay, I told you he's crazy. How did you know? They took away his license. What in the world the doctor make a cesarean and he has to put his initial on the woman's stomach?
And a made job.
Made in China.
You know, signature serious.
Yeah. Maybe he thought it's Picasso. Maybe it's a reincarnation of Picasso. I wonder who this baby that came out from these initials. Before we finish, a few more minutes will steal from your time. In laws of modesty, you have to teach the people only what requires by law, like the rest of the laws, or when it comes to modesty, since Hashem is very sensitive about it and very strict, You have to automatically tell them the most strict opinion without even offering them the job of the minimal requirement. They have to be, a beginner asks you, Rabbi, am I allowed to do this? So you know he's not capable of handling the test. You tell him, not allowed. And he believes, and he goes. Or you have to tell him it's allowed, but it's very, very recommended not to go there, or not to do it, or to use someone else. What's the law?
You have to teach them halacha. That's the main approach. And then you have to mention what is more strict.
You're right about what you say. You have to teach them the law, and you have to push them to be too strict when it comes to modesty. The problem today is most people think the rabbis are too strict about modesty, and they doing extra than the requirements, when in reality they're not even meeting the minimal requirements. The rabbis are also people, they surrender to the weaknesses of the public because they see how they react, just like a coach. If a coach wants his team to run 3 hours and they begin to go like this, he sees, okay, 2 hours. Well, what happened? They need to run 3 hours. He's tired of them already. So in his mind, such losers, let me just give them 1 hour and let me go home. This is the way the world is. Same thing teachers, what do you think? When the teachers see the class is 20 below zero, each one, you give them 5-6 questions, they lower the level. What do you think? The test in Israel is what the test used to be 40 years ago? Nothing to compare. It's much, much lower level. 40 years ago, the secular people had a brain. Today, their brain is in the nonsense. They don't have time to think. Everything is calculator, everything is computer. When I was a kid, there was no calculator allowed. Everything was in a head. You remember my personal story, no? From the bagel store. I was making some things, everything in my head. Open the register, 869. The Americans were standing shocked. How do you know? What's the big deal? To add few things up? But it's with a sense. They never, since they're little kids, they only use calculator. Their brain never thought. In Russia, they think. In Israel of those days, they used to think. Now nobody thinks. Take the average kid, you give him a challenge that he has to focus 10 minutes, right away he gets up and run away. Have to beg him to come sit, he can't. We go to an average class. Go to a class of a public school. Stand 5 minutes on the side and see how the kids move in a chair. Chris, sit down please. Yes, sir. Like this. What a job. A teacher in a public school has to make a beginning salary $1 million a year. It's a nightmare. It's what a torture. Sit until 4 o'clock, 20, 30 people in a class, throwing things, moving, nobody thinks. What a torture. I one time went to a place, they locked the teacher in a room, and they're all banging on the door. I said, riots inside the school. Should I call 911? I said, no, it's every day like this. Unbelievable.
What do you do when your daughter's classmates all, dress with short sleeves and now she wants to fit in?
You fight full force.
There's no other school because you find it in every school. You find problems.
You fight against it. You talk about it in a house. You bribe them not to go down on a level. You have to fight. You cannot surrender to it.
She's in society, she's there.
Is a Kala allowed to go to a hairdresser male to do her hair for the wedding? Yes. Or in general, not what's the wedding has to do with that. In general, to go to a male, how they call it, hairdresser, hair designer. He built the Empire State Building on her head. Spray, this, color. 6 hours. Every curl has to be in a place. The answer, not allowed. It's not like doctor profession. Doctors is doctor, hairdresser is hairdresser. Understand? No life risk if the hair won't be exactly shiny enough. There's no health issue here. Find a woman to do the hair.
What if the man
Is it allowed to shake hands to a woman? What's the question? Person has a 90 years old woman like this. Hey, young man, can you open the door for me? Thank you. She gives him the hand. She's 20 years old. She's 90. What's going to happen? He shakes her hand. He wants to give her respect. What's going to happen? Torah say, not allowed to touch a woman. Not even like this. Not allowed. No hand, no touch the arm, nothing. So the question is, there are exceptions to the rules or not? The answer is, there's no exception to the rules. The question is why? Why the Chachamim never told you, in this case you're allowed, in this case you're not allowed?
Once you shake hands with an old woman, it can lead you to shake hands with a
Because if you're going to start making exception to the rule, provisions, but if the woman is 90 and older, you're allowed. But if the woman is extra ugly, you're allowed. But if the woman is gay, you're allowed. Everyone, why are you shocking this woman? Oh, I know her. Well, what's the problem? No, she's... Okay, she lives with her girlfriend. They have a few kids together. Okay, what about this? What? Come on, Rabbi. She can be the mother of my grandmother. What? So everyone will make an excuse. Once they made a rule, that's the rule. You don't look for logic in every scenario. That's it, the rule. If you begin to break the rule again and again and again, you become reform.
If she's in danger, she wants to cross the street, and she catches her like this.
She can hold his jacket. You can tell her, hold my jacket and follow me. I'm serious. Hold the jacket. Or if she has a stick, so you hold the stick or something like that. Modesty, it's an atomic bomb. Breaking the laws of modesty is playing with not fire, playing with atomic bombs.
If she extends her hand first, business.
Oh, now a woman gives you the hand. It happens all the time. She doesn't know that the fact that you have a yarmulke, the Pope shake hands. He has a big yarmulke, the Pope. He has a big Iraqi yarmulke. The Iraqi has white yarmulke. So now, if a woman comes to the Pope, Father, ¿cómo estás? Bien, hija, bien. He gives her the hand. So what's the problem? So they got used to it. People with yarmulke, they shake hands. The answer is, you have to tell her, I'm sorry, I don't shake hands to women from religion reasons. That especially if she's black, she's going to think you're racist. You don't want to shake her hands. Oh, tomorrow you'll be on the news. Every channel, a racist, did not want to shake the hand of a black woman from Harlem. Oh, newspaper, Channel 4, Channel 10. What do you have to say? Come on, leave us alone. It's for religious reasons. If she was white, the same thing. She was Asian, the same thing. They try to make action. Have to be clever. That's why you have to clarify right away. It's nothing personal. It's for religion purpose, for religion reasons. That's what they understand. Not only that, they actually admire it. In all the years, I never saw one time that an embarrassing incident came out of it. Only nice thing came out of it. Wow. They give a nice compliment. Wow, I didn't know that. It's very impressive. That. Wow. That. Maybe they fake it. But one way or the other, nothing bad came out of it. It's a challenge.
My brother-in-law in London was a big cousin in London, and like the synagogue. All the women used to admire him. After the services, they always used to come to him. Very religious, very from. You know, all good Shabbos cousin. He never shake hands.
That's it.
Explain to them.
What's the solution when you come to a place when there's a lot of ignorant women and they don't know the rules and they will try to shake your hand? You hold a lot of books. Take one bag and 5 books. Hello, ladies, Shabbat Shalom. That's what you do. That's when nobody comes. Chacham enav berosho.
What if they still try to shake your finger? They still try.
So you push the book.
Rabbi, you have a buyer coming down. You have a buyer, we have a public meeting. The goyim don't know these things.
You come to the goyim, you say, hi, how are you? Like this. Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. When you go like this, they won't shake. They see already, they understand. It's in the subconscious. Go like this. Hi, how are you? Like in Japan. No problem.
You can hold your pants like you don't have a belt or any other thing.
Just make sure that if the wife of Putin give you a handshake, you better be careful.
Come on, now we're really embarrassing. Putin is divorced. You don't know this. Just recently he got divorced officially.
I tell you why. Because he's a karate, he used to practice on his wife.
He's not karate either. He is a judo.
Judo, no. You know, you sound like it's in the 10 Commandments to learn the biography of Putin.
For somebody else, no. But you, who is always using his name, yes.
Now, a woman that is in a nervous crisis, she cries, she has a depression, and she needs somebody to hug her, to take her out. I can't even believe people ask this question. The answer, not allowed. Call your wife to hug her. Next, a father allowed to touch his adopted girl. It's not his biological girl, adopted. She grew up, she's a woman now. Wants to hug her and kiss her. Allowed or not?
What age?
He adopted under 3?
If he adopted her since she's a baby, yes. If when she was already a woman, no. If she grew up by him, mentally he feels that she's his daughter. When she feels that that's her father. So there's no intimacy between them. But if she already came 13, 14, a woman, with his, when he got married, she came from the previous marriage. Now she lives by him, he's the father. But he doesn't look at her as his own girl. It's like a guest that lives in his house.
A boy has by age 9. Rules, it's different and all that at age 9 for a boy. So
9 for yichud.
For yichud with a girl, if you're basically in a second marriage, how do you...
Yichud with a girl is from age 3. Some say 6. Some say 6. Now, in judo, how? I told you had Ruach HaKodesh. Next question about judo. In judo, people wants to learn self-defense in judo, all these things. Allowed boys and girls or no?
Of course not.
Not allowed. Relatives, grandparents, allowed to hug and kiss them or no?
Grandparents, yes. Uncles, no.
There are laws of modesty that apply to all relatives with the exception of father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, so it's 4. Now, daughter, your own daughter and your own son, no problem. Brothers and sisters, it's a problem. Brothers and sisters, already a problem, especially if she got married. That's it. She's already belonged to another man.
What about great-grandparents?
If you have your mind, maybe not.
If she's over 90, it's...
What happens if the Persian ants come? They want to kiss you. When you Baal Tshuva. If you tell your Persian ant that you cannot kiss her from now on, that's it. The death sentence for you.
Happy to be right.
She won't give up. She will chase you to the room.
Oh, yeah.
I'm right or wrong?
This is a more difficult question, Rabbi, because now you can really push her away from your possibilities to
you said
by nature for one
Take the
day,
money away.
because that's how you're going to be fanatic in your eyes. So you have to be careful. You can be next to Hilul Hashem.
You know, we are sometimes smarter than Hashem in our imagination. When Hashem gave the laws of modesty, did he know that the Persian ant will get upset when you don't want to kiss her?
Yes.
He knew. Why did he not allow it? Because people had relationship in the past with their aunts. Moshe Rabbeinu's parents, his father married to his aunt. So you see, there's intimacy between a man to his aunt. Doesn't mean that the aunt is 90 years old and she comes. No, she could be also 30, and she's your aunt.
But as you remember, we sometimes using a common sense, even making some deviation from halakha, because sometimes the common sense will provide the goal to be reached, other than just following the halakha directly.
That's what that singer thought when he was making the concert, and apparently nobody agreed with that. You see, nobody agreed. Sometimes a person means really good. He means well. Hashem knows the person's mind. He knows that the person did not have any intention to touch the women for other reasons. He knew he was feeling he's doing kiruv. He knew even he crossed his mind that even if Hashem will punish me for that, I'll take the punishment. It's worth it for me to save those sisters and bring them closer to Judaism. Only Hashem knows how to judge people. Remember, it's not black and white. Two people committed the same act. One can severely get punished. One can get a very minor punishment. Maybe Hashem did not even punish for it. I don't know his calculation. We only go by the rules. We do not create exception to the rules on our own. We don't.
We have a lecture here, I believe, about that, or maybe you have it in Queens, I heard it on the internet, that common sense sometimes we follow by the common sense instead of going by the law or strict truth.
Right.
You agree?
There are cases like this. There's cases like this that a person, for instance, when Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, that the story of Kamsa or Bar Kamsa, that he went to the Goyim and he said, if you give them an animal, the Jews will not sacrifice that because it comes from you, the Goy, the king. The Jews will not sacrifice the sheep because you, the king of the Goyim, send the sheep. The Goyim say, what? What? I gave birth to this sheep? What difference does it make who gave the sheep? Here, take the sheep. What did he do? He cut the lips of the sheep. Now it became defected. You cannot put a defected animal on the altar. So the Gemara say, even though the Torah say not allowed to do it, but the Chachamim, Zechariah ben Avkulas, it was too humble. It was too like this, doesn't move left and right. His common sense wasn't the way it should have been in that particular scenario. And he ended up refusing to sacrifice it, and because of that, the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed. Chazal blaming him, not me. I would not dare to say it. Ilmale, it says in the Gemara, I would not dare to open my mouth against such a big tzaddik. But the Gemara says his extra humble humility caused the destruction of Beit HaMikdash. You know such a thing? Person is extra righteous fanatic, and the Chachamim blaming him for destroying Beit HaMikdash. Why? Because now it was a time to make a sin. Make a small sin and save the life of all the people of Yerushalayim. But here, it's a pikuach nefesh. Here, every Chacham knows that, of course, even to violate Shabbat I'm allowed. Definitely I'm allowed to sacrifice it. If Hashem comes to me and say, why you put that animal on the altar? What, I'm going to have 100 good reasons to tell him. What did you prefer, that all the people would be slaughtered here? And the Ben HaMikdash? What are we going to gain by that? Of course, for whatever reason, he did not see it. But this is an example. Of course, we're not talking about cases of pikuach nefesh. We're just talking about a case that someone will be a little upset.
If the person comes to Rabbi and say, Rabbi, my aunt, Persian Rabbi, like to make a nice example, she's 70 years old, I'm Balei Tshuva, she's coming this weekend. It is a traditional family, she's going to try to hug me. I know this is against the rule, but it's going to ruin the family, and she's going to think I became fanatic, and the rest of the family going to look at me that I'm fanatic and push them away. I'm trying to make them Balei Tshuva anyway. So what is the big deal? She's 70 years old, let you hug me, I'm going to show the people I'm normal, we will talk, maybe they're going to become Balei Tshuva. If Rabbi allows, say, you know what, in this scenario she's 70 years old, you are 30 years old, maybe.
I thought it's a question, not a speech.
It is the long.
It's a 3 minutes question.
It is
3 minutes.
It is a long, well explained question.
I will answer you with a very short answer.
No.
Not allowed. Yalla, let's go.
Maybe this is the place to move an inch.
Now, shh. Now,
I think you have 3 shots.
Clothing. Women allowed to wear jewelry when they walk in the street or no?
Depends how flash.
Jewelry,
Depends where.
they know better. In the back, they know better. I would say
The original law is woman allowed to wear jewelry only in her house. But this is one of the laws who already, they broke the fence and today everybody wear and nobody makes a beep. But the Rachamim say that the woman will not go out to the street with their jewelry. And in the beginning, the Gemara thought they only ask about Shabbat because it's the public territory. But then the Gemara says, ואמרו חכמים, אף בחול אסור לצאת בהם לרשות הרבים. Not only Shabbat, even on a weekday. Why? Because it attracts attention to the woman. What's the purpose of putting jewelry?
Beautiful.
What's the purpose? When a woman puts the jewelry, it goes like this, you know,
for the other man.
like this, 50 times. She changed. She has 15 boxes. She confused. You know, she looks. She put by mistake in another box. The husband is already angry. He finished a pack of cigarette. He's missing the chuppah. No, let's go. No, I cannot find the earring. Okay, so you have another 15 pairs. No, it goes together with the dress.
So attract attention on herself.
Huh?
Attract attention on herself.
Why, really, women care so much to put
To
jewelry?
attract other men.
No, that's against the rules.
Yes, why would you cover your head?
For her husband, she can put the jewelry. Today it's the opposite. As soon as she walks home with her husband, right away by the elevator, she takes the jewelry out.
It's supposed to be easy question. If you cover your head with a wig or with the cover your hair anyway, how can you be required to cover your hair when you put the jewelry in your ears?
Does a woman allowed to dress very not modest in a house when no one is in a house, or she has to be modest in front of Hashem?
She has to be modest in front of Hashem, no exception.
She's allowed
No exception. It has to be exactly like she is in the street.
She has to be modest. But what happens if her husband is in a house?
She still has to be the same way, even if the husband is in the house.
What happens if she and her husband in a bedroom, she allowed to take the cover over her head?
In a bedroom, yes.
No, you see, you don't need me next Tuesday.
That's what the bedroom is for. I want to get a kosher shidduch from you, so I'm getting ready.
Are a man allowed to walk with short sleeves above the elbows, or like a woman, it has to be below the elbow?
not touch them too.
If you want to be really modest, below.
The answer allowed. Is a man allowed to walk with shorts on the street?
No.
All his legs is out there, like a camel?
No. That's for sure not.
Problem from Mincha, right?
No. Even it's not. Depends on the law, you're not allowed. Doesn't matter. The summertime, the other time, you're not allowed.
In a basketball court, in a swimming pool, or in a park when they do sport, is allowed.
In the street, no.
Rather than that, in the street is Chilul Hashem.
Right, a woman is allowed to dress in the house modest, but with a woman?
When we say not immodest, for instance, if a woman wants to wear a pajama in a house, she's allowed. It's not following the laws of Jewish modesty, but it's also acceptable in the eyes of the world that it's modest things. She's not dressed half naked, you know. But it's more lenient in a house as long as she's still dressed with dignity. But then if she wants to wear, I don't know, underclothes only and walk in a house like this, that's in front of Hashem. It's not sanua. Then, what's better? Covering the hair or to put a wig? What's better? Believe it or not, even though every logical person would tell you, of course, to cover the hair is better than a wig, no? Not everyone agree with that. Some that are influenced by Kabbalah, some, without going into names, it's not relevant who say what, just the idea, the concept, the opinions, that they say that a modest wig is better than covering the hair. Why? Because according to the Kabbalah, even one hair of a woman who comes out, it's a problem. One, even from the sides, even a little bit that it comes up a little bit, two finger, one finger, a little bit comes from the neck. Anything that comes out is a serious problem. Therefore, when she cover with a wig, short, modest wig, nothing comes out. So according to those opinion, the modest wig is better than covering the hair with a hat or with a snood.
What's the problem there?
But that's only those who are influenced by the Zohar, which is Hasidish and some Kabbalistic Sfaradim. But really, if you go by the Pshat, there's nothing to compare between covering the hair for real than to put a wig. Rav Ovadia Yosef screamed about it all his life. And at one point, they even asked him in one of his speeches against the wigs about one of his family members. I don't know, his daughter-in-law, his granddaughter, somebody from the family. Somebody got up, it can only happen in Israel, that the biggest rabbi in the world give a speech against wigs, and somebody stands and says, what about your daughter? It doesn't happen in America. Maybe it does, I don't know. But they say Middle Eastern chutzpah. Somebody asked him this question. What do you think he answered him? He said, there's enough room in Gehenom for her also. Without hesitating. When he thought that's the rule, it did not matter if your son, if he's his son or his daughter or his wife. The rule is the rule, regardless who asks.
Okay, they're more attractive. You go to Borough Park, they're much more attractive than regular girls. What are you giving?
We're not talking about the fancy $10,000 wig that as soon as she comes out of the house, everyone becomes blind. The whole street is already, I'm not talking about this. And every fool understands that it's not modest, it's against the Torah. We're talking the modest wig. Like Chacham Ben Zion Abba Shaul allowed wigs to his Talmidim. His wife had a wig. There's a big Chacham, top tzaddik, that you cannot imagine what a tzaddik he was, and a huge Chacham, and he allowed wigs. So to come and say, wig is a violation, you have to be careful because there's Gdolei Torah who allows it. But everybody agreed that those who allowed wigs allowed the short, straight, not flashy, 10 different levels, one side red, one side black, tomorrow blonde in the middle. Today, in marriage issues, sometimes it's better the wife will wear wig for her husband, depending on the husband. If the husband is in a high level, doesn't need it. But if he's not such a high level, and especially if he works in Manhattan, it's better that she will wear a wig for him in the house whenever they're together. She always look beautiful to him. Then she puts something on the head that doesn't look as attractive, because today the people are in the lowest level when it comes to modesty that you can imagine. So therefore, here is an example of what you said before. Normally, of course, to cover it's better than to put a wig. But if you have a husband that is in such a low level, and you're not going to be always pretty for him, it will cause him to do bad things, then it becomes a very serious mitzvah to put a wig. I once asked Rabbi Adere, which is extra strict in his anagot, I asked him, how you allow people wigs? This was 15 years ago. How you allow wigs? If by you everything is mamash with Ahavat Hashem, with such a high level and standard. Wigs, how do you allow it? So he told me, if you hear some of the stories I hear every day between husbands and wife, what's going on when they go to their offices with all the goyot around, then you'll understand that this is a chiyuv, not it's allowed, it's an obligation to go with the wig for them, for this kind of people. It can save a lot of problems later on. Everyone does what his rabbi tell him to do. That's it. If your rabbi tell you to shave your head, you have to shave your head, if this is the custom of your place. Your rabbi tell you to put a wig, you put a wig. If your rabbi told you don't put a wig, you listen to your rabbi in everything he tells you. Some of the things you like more, some you like less. but you don't do, you have, some people have Rav Manoach. You know Rabbi Manoach?
Yes. 50% I listen, 50% I don't.
No, Rabbi Manoach, the father of Shimshon, his name was Manoach. But that's not what I meant. Manoach, it's two words. Ma, it's what? Noach means comfortable. What's comfortable? Rabbi, what's comfortable? Oh, Moshe Feinstein allowed mixed seating? Okay. Yalla, mixed seating. Oh, this rabbi allowed wig? Yalla, wigs. This one allowed OUD? No problem. After a week, everything is allowed.
Rabbi, I have a question on this subject.
If someone says to a Hasidic woman, rabbi says, you have to shave your head. It says in halacha that you don't have to do that, so she's not obligated to listen to him, no?
She's going to have to leave the Hasidut. They won't let her go in a mikveh.
She's married to the husband, and they both go to this Hasidut shul. What she's supposed to do? She cannot.
She has to follow her husband. She must. Once a woman married a husband, whatever the husband is, that's what she is from now on.
And whatever that rabbi telling her, she's supposed to do.
Yes.
The Hasidim.
It comes up in a shidduchim, in a dating. What do you think? Nobody marry anyone before they make it 100% clear. Plus, there's restrictions against them. If a regular woman that does not shave their head would go to this mikveh, they won't let her in. You don't understand? They look at her, is not permitted to come into this mikveh.
Go to another mikveh. What's the big deal?
Okay, but then tomorrow her children wants to marry somebody that they like from the community. They'll put a ban on you. You don't understand? This is the way it is. In certain communities, they have the rules. Whether you like it or not, that's besides the point. Whether it's 100% according to Torah or 90%, that's besides the point. It's a fact that right now this is the regulations over there, and those who wants to live in that community has to keep it. You don't want, leave the community, move somewhere else, and do what other community does. But as long as you're there, in New Square, you and your wife walk in two different sidewalks, whether you like it or not. You walk in one side, and your wife would go with the lady side. Two sidewalks. Is that what the Torah say? No. Why they do it? They want to be extra modest. This is the rules over here. Over here you want to walk? We'll give you permission to walk in our area. No problem. Be our guest. Respect our custom. It's perfectly logical. Everywhere else, you come to the Syrian, you are in their community. You know, if you know your wife is a convert, Syrian is not for you. They have a ban on conversion. They don't accept conversion to the community. They have a gzera 80 years old. Gzera, decree. Yeah, your wife is a convert, you go across the street, there's Ashkenazi, there's Hasid, there's Faradi, there's Moroccan, there's Persian. Over there you won't have problem.
The Syrian rabbis can do it. The Torah clearly teaches that
a ban. You put a ban. You know what? I have to explain to you something. The Torah allowed to listen to music. Hashem gave music for people to enjoy. After Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, Chachamim say no one should listen to music. How can we listen to music when the house of Hashem is destroyed?
We're not talking about Chachamim.
I'm giving you an example. But the Torah allows music, but the Chachamim say don't listen to music.
Among the Syrians,
Chachamim, the Bedin, the big Chachamim. It wasn't, believe me, it wasn't just another rabbi. It was very big rabbis.
Who says a local rabbi is not supposed to be part of Chachamim? We should consider this a part of
One Syrian guy told me that if they did not have this decree, their community would fall apart a long time ago. They told me that that's really what kept their community all united together, because what happened is that a lot of the successful boys from the community started to be chased by all kinds of goyot who wanted a family with some wealth. And therefore, what happened is, if they would allow it, today you would not know anymore what's going on.
It's clear in Torah saying that any convert has to be appreciated, valued more than even the nature of one Jew. This is by Torah. This is not some kind of Chachamim or rabbi.
Yeah, but the same Torah said that you have an epidemic of fake converts, and you make a ban because you see that too many of them lies, and they only want to get into the family because they fell in love with Joey and with the other one, right? So now what's happening? The father of Joey is not a fool. He has life experience. You know why this Goya came to his son. She see the car he drives. She see the business of the family. She reads about them in the news. She want to be a part of it. Now listen. you're right that from every X amount, some of them will be real converts. But this is the problem in life. When the majority of the people are dangerous, the minority suffer. You understand? This is it. Today, when you want to give a loan to a religious person, you don't give him unless if he give you 10 different securities. Why? You don't trust his beard? Not anymore. Why? Once there were too many crooks out there, you hear about them on the news. The righteous one, which they're still the majority, they pay the price. You want to rent an apartment? You cannot rent an apartment. Why? 50% of the tenants are crooks. So you cannot rent an apartment. You can't. Why? Because there's a criminal that will not pay the rent and you pay the price. This is life. What can you do?
Rabbi,
That's it.
you know the assimilation rate by our community, I think, is number one. We don't have like the other communities. Because of it. Because at that time, a lot of them didn't go in. A lot of them, so they had to prevent it all the way.
Save the community. Listen, look. When the Chachamim gather together and they make a law, again, like I said before, some of the laws to other communities may not look logical, but it's irrelevant. You want to live in our community, you're welcome. Follow our guidelines. You don't want to follow it, go anywhere else. We're not forcing you to live here. That's it. It's perfectly simple. You know, if you want to visit a mosque, you'll be forced to take off your shoes. You don't like to walk without shoes. You never walk in a street without shoes or in someone's house without shoes. You look strange. Everyone takes the shoes. You take the shoes, my friend. That's it. Okay, now, Mamash, we finish. I went really too far today, but Mamash, I want to just finish this and we're done. Is it really necessary in the hot, humid, muggy summer to wear dress shirt and a jacket and a long jacket and a fair hat or a hat and tzitzit, thank you, and a wool tzitzit and sometimes a t-shirt underneath, 5-6 garments in a 95 degrees humid? Does it really have to be that a person will suffer every second of his life like this?
Actually, it's practical.
Or it can be changed already. Maybe it's time to change this. What do you think?
You must change it, otherwise you're going to smell and this is the real Hilul Hashem.
I didn't expect that one.
Was I good?
The answer is, it's a catch-22. The clothing doesn't make a person tzaddik. Let's start with that. If a person dressed naked is rasha, yes. But if he dressed modest, it doesn't matter really what kind of clothing, as long as it's fine, okay. Why it's so important for the Hasidim to dress like this? And for the Litvish to also wear black and white and black hats and all these customs that it is? The answer is, because this was the tradition already hundreds of years ago or tens of years ago, and nobody wants to start making changes because of the trauma that we have from the Reform people. The Reform people brought a massive tragedy to the Jewish nation. They started to modify little laws of the Torah in the beginning, 200 years ago, and today they became more goyim than any goy on the planet. The ultra-Orthodox people already see where it's going. You're going to start taking the hats, and then the beards will become shorter, and then the jacket will fall off, and then the shirt will become red, and then the shoes will become this, and sandals, and all kinds of things. And in 50 years from now, people will become Chalelei Shabbat because of that. That's why Chazal say on the nation of Israel, they did not change the clothes in Mitzrayim, even though in a massive salvation, massive hard work that they had over there in Mitzrayim, they still dress like the custom of the Hebrews. You know, why? Who cares now? You're going to die, they kill you, they torture you, now you care how you dress? The answer is, that's one of the reasons they came out of Mitzrayim. They did not move from their tradition. And there's other examples about that. Now comes what you say. If you're in Bnei Brak in Israel, 8 months of the year, it's extremely humid. 80% humidity, 90% humidity almost every day. As soon as you come out of the shower, you walk in the street, and an hour later you begin to smell. That's it. There's nothing you can do. You get on a bus, the Chilonim, they all wear short pants, short t-shirts. They put deodorant. They're not as sweaty as the people that wear so many clothes in such a hot weather. Especially if you have a hat, it makes the sweat goes constantly. So what happened? You're right, it creates Chilul Hashem. What answer to give you about your question, I don't have. Because I myself has the same question. What's more important, to keep the tradition and to create Chilul Hashem? Especially, we only talk about the summertime. Winter, there's no question. But the summertime, that it really creates that people smells. And there's no way to prevent it. If there was a way around it, then we don't have a question. There's no way. It can be very clean. You can take 2 showers a day. How many clothes you're going to change? Every 5 hours you take. In Israel, as soon as you come out of the shower in Tel Aviv area, you begin to sweat before you even got dressed. There was no, you ask yourself, why did I even take a shower for? I'm all sticky and dripping, like Miami Beach, same story. So the question now, there's no way around it. What to answer you, I don't know. I mean, it's a very serious question.
Compromise clothes, maybe hat, maybe short, but no big jacket and no maybe...
Wear hat or shorts.
Well, even the shiva pockets.
You know, I want to tell you one thing. When I was in Arizona, I saw something very interesting. A group of Hasidim started to move to Arizona. All of a sudden, a place of 110, 120 degrees, the Goyim in Arizona got the shock of their life. In New York, they see a lot of Hasidim, so nobody cares. They're used to it. But the Goyim in Arizona, they never saw a Hasid with a Streimel in 115 degrees. So they all came to take pictures. They said, look, new people came to town. They dressed like this in 120. They went the shock of their life. They couldn't believe it's possible. It's not humid there. But when 110 degrees, doesn't matter humid or not. Over there, you don't need an oven. You want to make an omelet, you make it on the hood of the car. Serious. As soon as you open the egg, right away you have an omelet on the hood. You don't need an oven over there.
What about sandals?
Is a man allowed? Sandals is also not recommended. I don't want to say not allowed, but not recommended. What about a model? A female model, of course, is not allowed. Because even modest women in pictures, in flyers, is not allowed. Needless to say, on newspapers with all kinds of... Well, what about male model? You want to be a model of suits. Any problems?
Yeah, try to attract the girls.
As long as it's modest, as long as it's modest, no contradiction.
If the clothes are modest and not against the tradition of the Torah, and not with holes and all kinds of things that it's disrespect, then it's allowed. Allowed?
What happens if 2 people get married and in the beginning they were growing, but then the guy grew much faster after they got married? Now the wife has to do what the husband does, but he's already on a completely different level. But the arrangement before that was they were not there together.
He cannot force on his wife extra. He can only tell his wife to do what the requirements are, as it was in the time of the wedding. Now he decided to be a mekubal, and he doesn't eat meat anymore. He doesn't eat cream cake. He wears a jalabia. He has tikunei chatzot. He takes smokes and he makes the angel fly away. And his wife, she still sells wigs. Not exactly in his level, He cannot force his wife to do all his extras. He can only tell his wife to do what the law requires. Many houses are broken because of this foolishness. That they force the wife to do what they learn in halakha. There's one opinion like this. You have to do it.
I'm talking about the woman got married.
Rabbi in a shul and keep it.
People that have verses from the Torah on their shirts and they want to walk with that into the bathroom. Allowed or not allowed?
About listening to a tape.
If they have a jacket on it, cover it, allowed. If not, not allowed.
What about on the yarmulke?
On the yarmulke? That's also a problem. So you flip it over. Go like this. But you don't forget to put it back on, because then it makes you forget things. Slit in a dress of the women.
Close it.
Even if it's below the knee. Above the knee, it's needless to say not allowed any cuts. But now it's below the knee. So the knees are covered, and the slits is all the way down. Allowed or not allowed? Absolutely not allowed. Not allowed. High heels. Twin towers. Thin and high. That after that, all her life, she walks like this. Twist the spine. Like this.
Someone 7 feet tall, they're still doing it.
Answer to all the lady, fancy, schmancy women around here. I hope they hear us from few blocks away. Completely not allowed. Very big avon.
Dress covering the heels.
100%. Not allowed to walk this kind of walking with the heels.
To change the body? What's the reason?
If it's low heels and wide, allowed. If she want to become, she goes on a date, and Gulliver is her date. 7 feet tall. She try to steal 2 inches, allowed, no problem. If they're wide, no problem.
6 inches of 3.
There is a verse about those heels in the Tanakh. Yan ki gavu bnot Zion. The Torah say, one tall woman walks between 2 midgets. But everyone see how tall and beautiful she is. And plus, she put bells on her legs, that when she walks, in case you did not notice her, automatically you hear bells, you think it's Sefer Torah.
The wooden heels.
When the bells come, you think Sefer Torah just came out. You turn around, you see 7 feet tall model. She walks with, they used to walk with heels like this, special kind of walking. Who is this girl in a Gemara that the Roman soldiers say, oh, look at this beautiful woman, and she started to walk more like that. And her hand, I don't want to tell you what was her hand. It's a horrible hand she had. What? That she walked in front of the Goyim soldiers to attract more attention after they gave her a compliment that she's beautiful. Imagine all these women that model, dress, this, all over the media. What's going to be their end? Poor girls. So I think we're done. We covered a lot of things today, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Next time, I'll give you a preview. Next time, we'll speak about concerts, all the new shows that on television, a new star is born, the Big Brother, there's all kinds of things like this, you know. What do you call it? There's a name for it, for those kind of shows. Reality shows. What of them are allowed? Which one of them is not allowed? Speaking in a bathroom. Is it yichud in front of a camera? If there's a camera in a building, you're allowed to be with a woman isolated there when you know there's somebody watching on a camera? Being a clown, laughing at people, making names to people, sport, circus, newspaper, television, violence, Islam. Why? It's back to back. I didn't plan it. Well, it goes together after the other. Visiting Reform places, Reform Jews, museums, SMS, text messages, emails, parents, hidden cameras, internet, blocking the evil inclination, testimonies, Facebook, publishing products in the internet, immodesty on the internet, copying books from the internet or songs without permission, and many other interesting things. Don't miss it next Tuesday, please, 9 o'clock. Next Tuesday, Shavuot. The following one, Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen ve'amen.